The most interesting questions about an election are not concerned with who won, but with such questions as why people voted the way that they did or what the implications of the results are. These questions are not always easily answered. Looking only at the campaign events and incidents will not suffice. The unique aspects of the election must be blended with a more general understanding of electoral behavior to create a full explanation. We thus need to x-ray basic concepts and ideas behind voting behavior as a basis for analyzing the 2023 election results so far. This is Alive TV's special election update program. Welcome to the Ultimate Choice 2023. I am Olubinga George. Now, the two major concerns characterize the study of electoral behavior. One concern is with explaining the election results by identifying the sources of individual voting behavior. We attempt to understand the election outcome by understanding how and why voters made up their minds. Another major concern in voting research emphasizes changes in voting patterns over time, usually with an attempt to determine the election results, tells us about the direction in which Nigeria's politics is moving. On this edition, we focus on the dynamics of electoral behavior, especially in terms of present and future developments. Now, Solomon Adoga, Programs Officer at the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, he also wears the double cap as the Program Officer at Transition Monitoring Group, TMG. He joins me today to answer some questions on issues surrounding the ongoing elections that are being collated by the collation officers and the Independent National Electoral Commission. Welcome everyone to the program. All right, Solomon, it's good to have you join me today. Let's begin by finding out, there were several opinion polls prior to this 2023 elections, especially the presidential election, showcasing the possible direction the outgoing elections might actually go. Do you think these predictions have been correct, judging by the current data available so far in the build-up to these elections?
So I think the opinion polls are, just what they are, a sample of the opinion of, a small group of people, which scientifically it's supposed to translate to the opinion of a larger community of people. So we haven't seen results yet. I just looked at the IREF, and the results that have been uploaded do not really translate to a sufficient number of votes that we can begin to use to translate to the overall voting pattern yet at the time. So this might be too early to say, because out of a total of 176 results that are expected to be uploaded on the IREF, as at 40 or 30 minutes ago that I checked, only 44,347 had been uploaded. So this may be too early to say whether those opinion polls were correct or whether they were not. But I mean, those are part of the things that happen pre-election, just to gauge citizens' opinion around candidates. Sometimes they even help candidates to prepare better in terms of their campaigns and all of that. So I think we may have to wait a little bit, longer till the results are sufficient enough to see what the voting pattern of citizens of this country have actually been reflected, to make this case.
Thank you for that insight, Solomon. Now, what do you consider the major contributing factor influencing voter choices in this election, considering the intriguing activities in the build-up to this highly anticipated democratic process?
The major contributing factors that, have been seen to influence voters' decision in this election, unfortunately, are some of the things that we will not want to see in a democracy. You don't want to see voters' choices being influenced by issues as religion, issues as ethnicity, issues as tribe, issues as geopolitical affinity and all of that. But unfortunately, as we saw from the campaign period, those are factors that are going to heavily influence voters' decision and voting pattern in the 2023 election. You would think that at this age, at this development, at this point of our development, you will see that candidates are voting along issues, uh, issues that reverberated from the political candidates. But unfortunately, those are not predominant. So votings are going to come along the patterns of the factors that I mentioned.
Impeccable insight indeed. Now, some observers have opined that the waiting period leading to the eventual declaration of election results by the Independent National Electoral Commission could have been better managed to be delivered in a timely manner than what is currently playing out. What is your opinion where this observation is concerned?
Yes, so from the promises that INEC made in the run up to these elections, and issues around their level of preparedness, issues around the functionality of the beavers and all of that, and the readiness of the IREF, to transmit and receive, results have not been seen so far. So as I'm talking to you, as I mentioned earlier, we still have just around over 40,000 votes, results, sorry, that have been transmitted, since yesterday. And that's not good enough when you are expecting over 176,000 results. So how long are we going to take to, get the results uploaded? So this has not build confidence at all, and then it creates room for suspicion. And you will expect as promised, because INEC, was expected to deliver one of the most, smooth elections in 2023. The confidence we are giving to them, the support we are giving to them, resources given to them, they had all the time to have dealt with all of these issues. So what is the problem? What is the reason why we are failing to transmit results as early as possible? And like I said, this late transmission builds, distrust among citizens, and that is not healthy for this process.
Okay, so let's move further. Now, according to the provision of the Electoral Act 2022, for a candidate to win in this election, that candidate must garner a sufficient number of ballots to meet the 25% vote spread in 24 of Nigeria's 36 states. In the absence of this, a second round runoff between the top two candidates will be held within 21 days. Do you see the possibility of a runoff in the ongoing election exercise?
So, as you rightly mentioned, there are two, layers of winning. Should I call it layers now? Yeah, there are two steps, required. First, you have to have the majority votes, and then you have to have the two-third majority across at least 24 states and the FCT. So at this point, really, it's still very early, still very, very early. So if you are expecting a total of 176,000 results, and at the moment we have just over 40,000 results, because I don't want to go by anything that's been computed outside of the INEC portal, the INEC platform. I want to rely strongly on INEC results. So it is quite early, but then I think I align with the people who, are strongly suggesting for the possibility of a rerun. Because with the candidates, spreading and holding their own zones and strongly to themselves, so there's a high possibility that they may find it difficult to get, that two-third majority across the 24 states as expected under the constitution. So if that case arises, I think going by that, there's a strong potential for rerun, going by the expectation, going by the strength of the candidates as well. But then going by the results that are coming out, I think it's pretty too early, to make those kind of assumptions at the moment.
Now, finally, before I let you go because of our time, the budget expended for this election so far amounts to over 600 billion naira. This is a whopping sum, higher than what has ever been budgeted for the conduct of elections since the advent of democracy in Nigeria. Would you say that this investment has been worth it in terms of the delivery currently witnessed in these elections?
So seriously, I wouldn't say that there's been a return on investment in terms of the whooping sums of money that, has been committed to INEC to ensure that they conduct a very smooth, a very, credible election in 2023. The issues that are coming out are not expected at all in 2023, even in terms of logistics. If you could remember, when the cash issue came out, all right, and INEC expressed the difficulty it could face in terms of delivering logistics to all the polling units across the country. The CBN woke up to that responsibility and provided the cash required to deliver on that. And INEC as well confirmed, that contribution of the CBN. So you can see the kind of support that INEC got from the civil society, from the international community, from government in terms of budgetary, even in terms of the legal environment, the legal landscape. We try to reform this process through the amendment of the Electoral Act to ensure that, INEC is as strong as possible, is as independent as it can be to ensure, a very smooth 2023 election. I wouldn't describe, the election as bad. No, I will not say that. It has not been the worst of elections in Nigeria, but it is expected to be far better than what we have at the moment. Yesterday, there were clear issues of late commencement of voting in many polling units across the country. As a matter of fact, some whole states did not even commence voting until late. Voting happened until late into the night. Those are not expected because the logistic provisions were expected to have been on ground. So what is the reason for all of this? We thought that we were fully prepared, to conduct a very smooth election. So if you ask me if there's been the total return on investment that we've made for INEC, I will not agree at all.
Well, unfortunately, time wouldn't permit us to go further in this conversation. But I must say thank you so much for joining me, Solomon Aduga, Program Officer at CISLAC. Thank you so much. And TMJ, he wears a double cap, by the way. Thank you so much. Now, a number of attitudinal and social factors are related to individual voting behavior. Among attitudinal factors, assessments of the personal characteristics of the candidates, evaluation of government performance, orientations on specific policy issues, party identification and ideology are the primary determinants of candidates' choice. For social factors, religion, race, region, and social class appear to be the characteristics that have most closely related to voting over the past several decades. However, digging into details of the figures from the already collated results showcases a detour from this timeless pattern. But then, it may be too early to preempt, like Solomon Adoga mentioned earlier. So then, let's keep our fingers crossed and continue to pay rapt attention to the ongoing collation exercise. At the end of the day, may Nigeria win. See you next time. I am Olubenga George.